Here's what mainstream media won't tell you about Ukraine's latest corruption scandal. Just this weekend, Ukrainian authorities arrested four officials, including a sitting parliament member from Zelensky's own party, in a massive defense procurement scandal. Defense procurement meaning the arm of the government responsible for handing out contracts to get military hardware made, i.e., procuring or acquiring military equipment for use in the war against, in this case, of course, Russia. Now, before we continue, if you are watching this video on TikTok, my main account has over 260,000 followers. Thanks to you guys. Absolute legends. Some of them OGs, original gangsters. Some of them joined later. That's fine. Now, this is my legit account, the 260k plus one. Watch my stuff there. I have to drop this message because copycats and scammers have made fake accounts, which I see as flattering. Okay, fine. You shouldn't have. Shucks. They're pretending to be me, and they then apparently slide into DMs and ask to move the conversation to Telegram or try to sell you some crypto nonsense. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for the crypto spin, right? No spin allowed here. I will never ever try to sell you anything crypto or move the conversation to Telegram. I would be interested, because I'm tracking these channels. I would be interested to see if they crop this part of the video out. That would be quite difficult for them, I think. We'll see. And if you see any accounts like that, direct message me the name. Just say hi. I think this is copying you. And don't just, if you direct message me for the first time, don't just write hi and then press send, because that will be the only message I can see. And I get a lot of hi, hello, hi, hey. And I can't respond to all of them. Forgive me. Now, back to the topic. The corruption ring or gang was systematically stealing millions from government contracts for military drones and electronic warfare equipment. Very critical at this time if you're following my Russia-Ukraine geopolitics and military strategy videos. There's a lot going on in the autonomous drone space in this attritional war stage that the Russia-Ukraine conflict is in. Now, just to explain clearly, what I mean by this corruption, because I'll break it down, because a lot of the time I don't see people breaking it down, so loads of people, the common people, just don't understand, but they want to understand. So I'll make it simple for you. Say some military equipment costs $70 million. These corrupt officials in Ukraine will tell specific defense contractors, hey, I'm going to make sure you get contract, but you need to charge government 100 million instead, okay? Say that's what the corrupt officials have to say to the defense contractors they're trying to work with, say it's going to cost 100 million, even though we know it's going to cost only 70 million. So the defense contractor says, da, sure, they're all Russian, by the way. They're all Ukrainian, sorry. The defense contractor says, da, sure, it costs 100 million. Officially, he sends that over. So the Ukrainian official then accepts the contract. And 100 million of Ukrainian taxpayer money, government funds, likely, fun fact, donated from UK, Germany, French taxpayers too, right? Because Western Europe is helping Ukraine financially. 100 million from the Ukrainian government gets paid to the defense contractor. This is a hypothetical example, obviously. But you'll realize not too dissimilar from what actually happens. 100 million gets paid from the government to the defense contractor. The shady official now, the corrupt Ukrainian, Mr. Corruptioso, let's say, then goes to the defense contractor afterwards, right? Behind the scenes. There's a button being pressed on my laptop and it's messing things up. Behind the scenes, secretly. And he says, I got you contract, give me kickback. A kickback is like a reward, right? For corruption. So the company gives him, the corrupt official, directly 30 million, just slides it, $30 million, right? Just slides it under the table, right? Secretly. That's about 30%. So the official gets a kickback, right? He gets a huge amount of corruption money. The defense company gets the $70 million contract. So that business is booming, right? That defense company is making huge bucks. But the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian citizens, and potentially the citizens of countries supporting Ukraine, just paid bonkers prices for whatever equipment was being obtained or procured. You're basically paying a specific official directly a 30% cut. For what? For nothing. It actually could be detrimental, because there might be defense contractors that would actually make better equipment, but because they weren't willing to work with the corrupt officials, only the dodgy defense contractors work with the corrupt officials, your nation is getting lower quality military equipment. Congrats. Now you know about the basics of corruption in procurement in under 5 minutes. And that was even with my caveat that TikTok scammers are on my case. They're trying to make fake accounts and tell you that they're selling you crypto. I'm not selling no one crypto, okay? Don't fall for that rubbish. Now, this is all happening, this corruption stuff, while Ukrainian soldiers desperately need these weapons, the procured assets, on the front lines to fight in the war against Russia. So officials were inflating contract costs and pocketing millions in kickbacks, while their fellow Ukrainians are being smoked in the east of the country by Russian forces. Not quite patriotic, if you ask me, but that's just me. That's just me. Maybe that's a different culture from the Indian subcontinent. I don't know. And the numbers I used aren't even dramatized. Ukrainian corruption, as recently as this week, has been found in some cases to be 30%, kickbacks being 30%. So, meaning, yes, on a $100 million deal, these corrupt officials actually did pocket 30 million. Here's the most peak, the most tragic part, though. That's right, it actually gets worse somehow on this sad Sunday morning. This comes just days, all of this corruption nonsense comes just days after Zelensky was forced to restore independence to Ukraine's corruption fighting agencies, the anti corruption agencies that revealed what I just explained to you. Zelensky was going to defund them into invisibility, right? Into the void. Only because protests from Ukrainians got too much. They came out onto the streets protesting Zelensky's changes. Zelensky initially tried to bring these anti corruption agencies under his direct control, claiming they were under Russian influence. Okay. But public outrage and EU pressure from his Western allies forced him to backtrack and basically undo everything he was doing with regards to the anti-corruption agencies. So he had to flip-flop on the corruption agencies. Very unstable legislatively for a sitting government, especially in wartime. I made a video at the time when Ukrainian protests were in full blaze explaining what was going on. Go check it out. It will be under the Ukrainian geopolitics playlist. Now, while billions in Western aid, let me just fix this ridiculous setup again. While billions in Western aid flow into Ukraine's defense sector, sorry about this, guys. Yeah. There's something wrong with my... Let's see if we can carry on. While billions in Western aid flow into Ukraine's defense sector, corruption remains. The arrested officials include former Luhansk governor Serhii Haidai and member of parliament Oleksii Kuznetsov. Before the agents of Western Spin, by the way, try to bury this story, make sure you leave a supportive comment letting me know where you're watching from. It motivates me and it helps push this content to other people. So if you're looking for a way to support me, I'm asking you directly, this is how you support me. If you're watching on a phone, whoop, send it through, unless you're on Android, which, honestly, I respect because Apple gets on my nerves, even though I'm using an iPhone at the moment. But that's the sound Apple iPhones make. Anyway, leave a supportive comment. Currently, from the front runners are Nigeria. They're from Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Canada, Australia, America. I hear you guys. I hear all of you guys, but those are the front runners now currently. I'm going to at some point start a polling system where I tally up where people are watching from according to their comments and just put it as a sort of like a race. That'll be fun. It's not a bad mix from around the world. Everyone, of course, wants to know the truth, unbiased and without the Western spin, right? And on YouTube, get subscribed for even longer videos and podcast episodes I'm working on, where I deep dive into topics, especially the deeper ones like broad geopolitics, war games, i.e., what happens if this country attacks this country, who would win out, what would likely happen, and economic assessments and analysis or analyses, which is several analysis pieces. I'll also be bringing on guests for even deeper analysis by the end of August, so I'm very excited about that. Check the link in my TikTok bio for all the ways to stay plugged into the real analysis instead of the biased nonsense that comes with the Western spin on it. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attentive ears and for the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin. I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one.